It is Thankful Thursday, October 3rd, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. So, with less than 32 days left until election, I need you guys to make sure that you are registered to vote in this upcoming election. It is very critical. This is not one that we can sit out on, fashion dolls. A lot is at stake and a lot is on the line in this upcoming election. So we need our beautiful Madam Vice President Kamala Harris to win by a landslide. That means I need you guys to go and check at vote.org if you are not registered to vote. Make sure you guys please go, if you're already registered, check your registration there and make sure that you are good and set to go in this upcoming election. It is very critical and it is a lot is at stake on the line in this ballot. And if you have not, make sure you take the time to do your research on Project 2025. Project 2025 is a dangerous plan to give Donald Trump complete absolute power from the people, and it would all go to him. So, fashion dolls, make no mistake, if Project 2025 is implemented, Donald Trump can become a total dictator in America. And that, we've never had that. So I need you guys to get that through. Think that in your skull. It would also eliminate the EPA. It would eliminate FEMA. It would also eliminate the National Weather Service. All of these things that we need to protect us and keep us alert at what's coming. 200 people are dead from Hurricane Helene. And my heart goes to the families out here who've lost a loved one in this Hurricane Helene. I know a lot of people was deeply impacted by it. I posted something to my story, so if you're interested in donating, you can check that out. I've just been posting like crazy a lot of things to keep you guys up to date on what's going on. A lot is at stake in this election. So, we're going to shift gears here, all right, fashion dolls? And a big shout outs to my brother, the K2 Spot. Make sure you guys please go and check him out and support his platform, all right? So, without further ado, our very special guest today, fresh new face. He is a business owner, singer, and playwright. And without further ado, let's welcome him to the dollhouse, Shawn L. Henry. Let me go ahead and share this with him so that we can get him in here. Can y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? Share this live. Again, if you guys have not, I need you guys to please go and register at vote.org. Go to vote.org. And you can also check your registration while you're at it as well, too. Now, here are the deadlines if you're down here in my state of South Carolina for early voting and registration. I'm going to give you these dates. They're very important and very critical. All right? So I need you guys to remember this. Voter registration deadlines, fashion dolls. Online registration is Sunday, October 6th. That's this Sunday. Registration by mail deadline is, it must be postmarked by Monday, October 7th. All right? And in-person registration deadline is October 4th. That's tomorrow. So if you're in the South Carolina area, those are the voter registration deadlines for the deadline for the November election. So I need you guys to get ready, get your head in the game, get set, and vote. This election is very, very close, which is very scary because, again, if you guys haven't heard about Project 2025, read it. I promise you, you'll never want him near the White House again. And it is frightening that this election is so close. So I need you guys to get out here and vote. A lot is at stake and a lot is on the line. All right? I know I look good. So we are going to shift gears here. All right, fashion dolls? So without further ado, let's welcome our very special guest, Shawn L. Henry. Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
hello. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, handsome. How are you? Welcome to the
It's
dollhouse.
good to be here.
Such a pleasure to have
Thank
you
you.
here. So before we get into this interview, how has your 2024 been for you so far?
Ooh, 2024. Hmm. It's been good so far. No complaints. Not well. It's some complaints, but I'm not gonna complain about them. So it's been pretty good so far. I've been maintaining things. Have been going well. Life has been good. So I'm excited. I'm here with you. So it's getting even better.
Yes, and it seems like the year went by so fast. The year flew by so fast. We'll be in 2025 before you know it.
For real.
So,
We will. We will.
yes, yes. So
But I'm
let's go.
excited about this. I'm excited. Don't hurt me too bad, okay?
I won't. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have some fun today. But before we get into this interview, I like to start at the beginning of the journey because you're a man who does many things. You are an act. I mean, let's go down the list here, shall we? Let's go down it. You are a business owner. You are a singer, and you are a playwright. So tell us, at what age did you develop the passion for music and playwright? Tell us all from the beginning about your journey. Who
Oh wow.
is Shawn Henry?
I started God, music I started when I was 4. I started playing the piano and singing at church. My grandmother was playing the piano for the choir, so I had to join in. It wasn't requested, it was demanded. And so I had to join the choir, and grandma was playing the piano, and she still plays today at 91 years old. Um, and so I started playing the piano. I play piano now as well. Um, and then playwriting started around about middle school. I started getting into plays and everything, and I started joining drama club and different things of that nature. And then as I got older, I went to college. My degree is in pre-law, but that was for the money. That wasn't for the passion. And so later on in life, I gained the passion to write. I wanted to write stories and tell stories and tell people's experiences and kind of like sneak in a little bit of my experiences and different things like that. So it started at about age 4, and then it just grew from there and there and there. And so I try to tell people all the time, like, you're not stuck where you are. Like, you're not, like, where you are right now is like so different from where you could end up. I ended up, I was a church boy, singing and playing piano, and I never thought I would get into playwriting, but here I am.
And look at you now. So, with playwriting, where do you find the inspiration to write plays? Because I know it's a lot. We touched on this yesterday with my guest, Joseph Jerome Mason,
Hmm.
about the increase of black filmmakers, black filmed producers, and creators. Do you see the rise and the influx of so many producers coming out and creating their own and making their own? And for you, where do you pull the inspiration to write your stories?
Everyday life, every day. I've been through everything. I've been through a lot. Like, I've been through so much, and I've witnessed people go through so much that it it came on to me. I didn't ask for it; it asked for me. And so I don't think enough people are out there telling their stories. I think a lot of people are afraid to tell their story. I think a lot of people are afraid to see their story. I'm one of them. Um, I have a play called The Minister that I've never even put on stage because I've been too afraid, because it kind of goes into my life a little bit. But I think there has been a huge influx of a lot of people that are coming into the arts, because
Yeah.
it wasn't popular at one time. It wasn't a thing. It was stigmatized for men, and especially for black men, to be in the arts. And I think Tyler Perry kind of like broke that mold a little bit and gave us a little bit of the freedom to come out there. I don't want to be like Tyler, but as far as being out there, I think it kind of like gave people like the okay. I think I can do it. I think I can actually write my own shows that are a little better.
Yes. And what's so amazing is that everybody has their own lane of storytelling. And I tell people this all the time when they come on my platform, that when we're in this journey together, when we're riding in this car together, I rotate seats. Yes, I'm the driver, the pilot of the ship, but I like to rotate and let my guests be the pilot of the ship
Mm-hmm.
because they're telling their stories as well too. And it's not
Right.
my place to tell it for them. I'm just here, you know, help ask the questions and things and navigate. But other than that, it is their story to tell. So That's the purpose of great storytelling, and that's what makes a great hostess of any platform. I think it's very critical and important that we continue to tell our stories, especially as black people, with everything that's going on with them trying to erase our history and lineage that is in this country. We have to make sure that we are telling our stories, where we come from, how we grew up, all of these things so that people would know. And I think it's important. So, what advice would you say to the next up and coming generation of playwriters, directors, producers out here? So many, so many. The
It's
influx, like you
so
said.
many, and so many people reach out to me from across the country, and literally I've done shows in other states as well. And they come to me and they're like, "Okay, where do I start?" And I think a lot of them expect for me to say, "Okay, you start by writing." No, that's not where you start. You start off by like removing your fear, like just going out there. I always tell my actors, if you're afraid to look stupid, you're afraid to act, because there are going to be points where you're going to feel stupid. There are going to be comedic points where you're going to feel like you look stupid. There are going to be times where you feel like you sound stupid. There are going to be moments where you feel like you look stupid. Just by how you look, something's not right. I have a great makeup artist that helps me, get on stage, because I don't act in my own shows, but I always come out at the end. That's one thing I don't do like Tyler. Like, I don't need to be in every show in order for my shows to be successful. Um, no tea, no shade. But the thing is where I would say where somebody could start off in their journey is like remove the fear. Go out there and just make it happen. Like if you really want something, and if you really want to make something happen, then you have to first remove the fear of what could not be. We often focus so much on what could go wrong instead of what could actually go right. And when I started Shawn Henry Productions, it was, and I'm behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know me unless I'm signing a poster or I'm signing a playbill or I'm coming out at the end, because I want other people to shine. And that's my story. Know your story. Know where you come from. Know exactly where you want to be and overcome that fear. And don't let people push you around and try to deter you from where you know you're supposed to go. Because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to hate on you because, number one, they probably want to have it themselves. They don't want to see you have it, or they think somebody else is doing it better. But that doesn't stop your lane into, I'm looking out here out my window right now, and this road here that I'm looking at, this road it serves a purpose. And whether somebody else doesn't like it or not, it still serves its purpose. It's the same thing with us as people. Whether people like it or not, we still serve a purpose. Know your purpose, know your drive, and know why you're doing what you do.
Absolutely. Do you believe that art imitates life and or vice versa, and why?
I think art can imitate life. I don't think art. I think art only imitates life to real people. Um, whether you're looking at what's going on around you, or whether you are bold enough to put your own self out there, art can imitate life. But there's so much art, it's just hard to like really kind of narrow that down into one category. Are we talking music? Are we talking drama? Are we talking dance? Are we talking
Writing
scripted?
and drama, because you write, you produce, get it out there writing.
My writing imitates life. My writing imitates real life. Like for most people, like my first sold out show, I was really ecstatic about it. The first punchline I wrote, I was happy that people actually laughed at it. I was like, oh shit, I actually wrote that. And like when people were laughing and having a good time, because they could relate to it. People don't like to be a part of anything that they can't relate to. And so it has to imitate life. It has to imitate life, essentially. Look at this.
Absolutely.
This is art imitating life. This very interview is art imitating my life. It's your art that's imitating my life.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Shawn. Now, My next question for you is, what is your creative process like when you're writing your plays? Like, even for music artists, they like a certain element when they are writing their songs and producing. Like, I'll give you an example. Erica Badu is one of my favorite singers. She likes candles. When she likes candles, she likes incense, all sorts of things. For you, what type of element do you like when you're writing your plays?
That's a good. Nobody's ever asked me that before. They just want to know how to write this, how to write it. They don't ask me what I actually do. Um, I can write a church show, and I need a couple drinks. I need a couple drinks first before I get to write. For some reason, a couple drinks kind of loosen me up, and my jokes come out better. I like silence. I don't like a whole bunch of noise around me.
Mm.
I can write a show in like maybe 2 days. I don't like a whole bunch of noise, and I just write, and then my I send it to my assistant, and my assistant will go ahead and make the edits. I don't edit my scripts. I don't like to go back and reread my scripts because I'm going to change things. And so I like it to just be natural. What it is what it is. How it is how it is. So a good drink, a nice mellow room, a good vibe. Like it has to be a good day. Like I have to wake up feeling good. It has to be like, okay, I'm about to flow today. Something could spark. Like I could see something at a grocery store and see a couple. I'm looking at the couple, but they're a couple, but they're not coupling. And so that could inspire me to write a show like, oh my gosh, I got to get home because, I got, Sharonda and Michael, and I need a scene where they're a couple, but they're not coupling right now. And so I'll go home, grab me, a little cocktail or something, quiet it down, get on my laptop and just get to writing, get to writing. I've had people that I could see somebody like you and I could be like, okay, I like your vibe. I like what you're giving. I like, you seem like you could do what you're doing. So I will literally be like, I want you in the show. And people will be like, well, the show is already written. It's my show. So I will literally go away for like 15 minutes and write you into a whole entire scene. So as far as I have to feel it. I have to get to a point where my mind is at ease and I'm actually in a place where I can feel what's going on.
And that's the best feeling when you find yourself in a space where you're able to create, where you're able to write. And even for me, with setting up interviews with, like yourself, the guest, and others, I find myself in an element of matching myself with people that I click with, who have the same creativity, who have that passion, who have that drive, which brings me to the next part of the conversation, because you're not only a playwright, but you're also a business owner as well too. And we touched on that yesterday. I don't know if you caught it, but we touched on that yesterday about helping people if they want to start a business, black filmmakers, black directors, black producers, and the importance of networking. Now, for you as a business owner, what are some tips and strategies that you would give to people who are looking to network and venture and or out their business?
Hmm. That's a good question. Um, first, have a passion for what you want to do. Like, if you don't really like it, like, don't just do it just to call yourself a business owner. Because most business owners, about a year into it, kind of almost wish they weren't business owners, honestly. Because it's so much easier to be like, I'm going to go to my boss about that, or that's not my department, or I'm going to talk to somebody else about that. But when you're the business owner, like you're the last leg. Like there is no
Oh
more.
yeah.
There's nobody else you can go to. You have to know your shit. Can I cuss on you?
Yes, because I do it all the
Okay.
time. But go ahead.
All right. You have to know your shit. You have to know exactly what you're doing. You have to know why you're doing it. You have to have a passion for it. I've owned a couple businesses and I'm about to open up another one. So what I would tell a lot of business owners is like do your research and have a passion for what you do. And don't be a business owner just to say you own a business because your business will fail. It will fail. If you're only in it just to own something, then open up a lemonade stand. But and when you talk about owning real business, you got to be a real boss. and you're dealing with real people with real personalities, with real attitudes, with real genuineness, and you're dealing with people's real life income, people's real bills, if you have employees and stuff. And so I would say go into your passion, research your passion, talk to people, network with people, stop asking people, how did you do it? And start asking people, why did you want to quit? What made you want to quit in your business? When I go into an interview for a job, if I'm looking to be an employee, I will ask my interviewers when they ask me, well, what is one question that you would ask us? I would be like, what is the biggest complaint of the employees in this position? Because I want to know what the problem is. How can I fix the problem? How can I come in better than the last one that came in before me? And so that goes with research, that goes with knowing what you're doing, why you're doing it, and it creates your purpose in what you're trying to own. No matter
Absolutely.
what it is, like, and if you're really serious and you've done your work and you really want to be a business owner, then number one, do it legitimately. Do it legitimately. Get all your permits if it requires permits. Get your license if it requires a license. Trademark your name. Do all of those things so that you're protecting yourself, because a lot of people will snatch it from you. And that shows just how serious you really are in what you do, and how serious you are in whether or not you really want to own what you own. Because in my community, a lot of people want to be business owners, but you don't, I mean, you kind of have a hobby. Is it a business, or is it just a glorified hobby? If it's a business,
Right.
you'll put in the work. If it's a hobby, you'll just do it when you feel like it.
Absolutely. That's so true. And I don't know if you've seen it. The young lady who created very demure, very mindful, very
Mm-hmm.
cutesy. She trademarked her thing, and
Mm-hmm.
then someone came in and tried to sue her for it. I'm like, this is her thing.
It's
She
hers.
created this.
Yep.
So, trademarking, branding, marketing is very important. And even with my platform, Style by Stevie, I made sure that me and my mom filed the paperwork to make sure that I have this name registered as my own. This is mine. So, if you see that purple and that blue, you know automatically those are the colors
Right.
for this season. Last season it was very monochromatic, but this season, if you see that purple, that blue, and that silver, you know that it's
And it
mine.
looks good. It looks good. It's signature. It's very signature.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to anyone out here that wants to start a business, make sure you write yourself down a game plan. Have a game plan and a
Mm-hmm.
strategy because it's important. I
Right.
do vision boards. So create yourself a board, a layout of what you want. If you want to go into having a restaurant, anybody, you start a game plan and start from plan A to point B. Don't just say, okay, I want to do it. Follow through with it. Make sure you're following every guideline to having that business. Make sure you have your licenses. Make sure you have everything trademarked and registers. And that brings me to the next part of the conversation because you're also an artist as well too. Like I said, Shawn, he does so many things. So you're a
I
playwright,
do
you're a
too
business
many
owner, and you're a singer.
things.
Yes. And I couldn't fit them all on your flyer. You sent me a list of them. I couldn't fit them all on your flyer.
I do
But
too many
music,
things. Too many.
that brings me to the next part of our conversation, music. And how do you feel about artists having to go back in the studio? And they have the music. They're masters. You knew where I'm going with this. Because may God rest his soul. Prince was genius about this. He was very adamant. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be a part of this machine. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start my own label. And just
Mm-hmm.
as that, he did. So, how do you feel about artists having to go back and get their masters, re-record their albums? I think it was a few artists that had to do it. Taylor Swift, Ashanti, and a few others. How do you feel about that?
I think that kind of goes back into the idea of doing your research.
Mm,
Like, before, like, you're hungry for it, but like, are you really? Because like, as an artist right now, if somebody were to sign me, I sing a lot of gospel, and I do like, I can sing secular, but like I've grown up singing mostly gospel, so I can sing secular. Maybe I can, I can tip a little, do a little karaoke with some John Legend, though. But I would say, like, a lot of them are so hungry for stardom, so I don't blame them for where they were. I don't blame Twinkie for selling her masters. When she had to sell her masters, with the Clark sisters and all that stuff. I bet you now she wish she hadn't, but she did. But it takes a genius like Michael Jackson to be like, I'm not going to sell masters. I'm going to buy
Oh,
masters. I'm not selling nothing. I'm buying. I'm the one on the other end that's going to buy this stuff. But that takes like doing your research and knowing the business that you're in, because everybody gets so caught up in the art, which is such a unique area for like a producer. I love being a producer because like I handle the business side of things and I'm in the background. So I understand what it is to know what's really going to go on. As an artist, you just want to go on stage and you just want to perform. As an actor, you want to just go on stage, you want to perform before you even realize you don't own any of it. Like you really don't own any of it. You're ultimately just a bag that groceries are being put in until you actually start to be like, you know what, yo, I'm going to own this bag and I'm going to own the groceries that get put inside of it. And so a lot of artists really need to do their homework. And how do I feel about it? To answer your question, I feel like a lot of artists they need to start putting these music executives, like putting their feet to the fire and actually making them give them what they deserve. That's why a lot of music is sounding the same and it's doing a lot of the same things, because that's what sells. Like a lot of artists out here right now, I can listen to a lot. Like I listen to one artist rap a certain way and another artist raps the same way, which is partially why I'm not a huge fan of hip hop no more or rap music anymore, is because it's all the same thing. Like it's just talking about like 20 different things in one song. Whereas when Nas came out with one mic, that was like, yo, like I fell in love at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like when I listened to like Tupac and stuff, like fell in love at that point. But a lot of artists are so hungry for stardom right now that they don't even care about the contract. They see $100,000 sign-on bonus and they want to run with it, and they don't realize they're signing their life away. I can't blame the executives. I mean, I really can't blame them. Like, and this might sound crazy, but because I know he's not popular right now, but as far as Diddy goes, when he was taking everybody's masters and everybody was like, we want our stuff back. We want our stuff back. Give me my stuff. It was like, yo, he was doing his part. Like he was doing what every music executive does. They want to own it. And you should have like kind of stepped back and not tried to actually be just in front of a screen and be like, yo, before I can do this, I'd rather not be famous if I can't own nothing. I can't own my own image. I don't have rights to my own image no more. Like that's a big thing.
and another thing as well too, to add on to that, um, this is why you have an influx of artists going independent. And I've sat with so many independent singers and songwriters here on my platform. The beauty of being an independent artist is that you have full range and full creative control. I was
Mm-hmm.
watching an interview with who was it? It's T-Boss from TLC.
Mm-hmm.
And she said when they did their third album, that was around the time that Left Eye passed away. And it was so fresh, it was so new, it was like a new wound to them. And
Mm-hmm.
they were like the record company era. I think they was with Love Face, and then they went to Arista for this
Mm-hmm.
album, the third album, which would have been 3D when Lisa passed away. If
Mm-hmm.
you look at that album cover, they're all dressed in black. They're all dressed in black, and it's just like, okay. If she said it was very rushed, it was more so that they didn't really have any creative input, and if they didn't say anything, then the album just would have came out all willy nilly. So the beauty of being an independent artist is having full range and creative control. Even with
Mm-hmm.
me having this platform, I'm responsible for the looks. I'm responsible for making sure that the guests get interviewed. So it all falls back on me, doing everything back to back to back to back to back by myself. And that's the beauty that of what I love being an independent artist. So no shade to anybody who wants to sign to a label, but that's why you see a lot of artists going independent, the independent route,
And
saying,
look at
"Hey,
what they're
I
doing.
want to record as artists." Yeah,
look at what they're doing with it. Like independent is almost the way to go. It's,
Yes.
it's like definitely like you own everything. It's more expensive, of course, because you don't have the backing of the label. But I mean, well, how much are you giving up for that sign-on bonus? Like, how much are you making? Like, if I sell a record for, or if I'm selling something for a certain amount of money, I want all the monies. Like, I don't want to have to get like what 20 cents on the dollar. That's wild. That is wild to me. Like, that is crazy. So, how do I feel about it? I feel like a lot of the artists. I feel sorry for the artists that came out back in the day who didn't have access to information.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays people have access to a lot more information. So I feel like nowadays it's kind of a little hard to feel sorry for people who get caught up in it because you have so much access to so much information right now that there's no need. Even with my actors and stuff who are in my shows and stuff, like they have full access. They're gonna get their money. They know what's going on. They know I own the image of my characters. But I've given permission for them to use that image because I know the actors, I know the actresses that are playing that role. Whereas if they write in a character, then they have full access to their own character because that's not my thing. I don't be
No.
selling my shows. I ain't selling my shows now, but
No,
you know.
because you wrote it. That's
Mm-hmm.
yours. And that's again, that's the beauty of being an independent artist. When you own something and it's yours authentically, it is yours only. Nobody can take that away from you. And that brings to the next part of our conversation. How do you feel that the internet has impacted the music business?
I feel like the internet has impacted everything in such a weird way. Like one day you like it, one day you don't. Um, Can you be more specific? Like, are we talking artists? Um, are we talking industry?
Artists, yes, the artists in the industry, because now we're in 2024, we're in year 2024. You said back in the day, and that stood out to me because back in the day we could order as many cassettes as we wanted to. Now it's all about streams and downloads. So I must say that technology and the internet has definitely impacted the music business to the next generation.
Well,
Whereas
I'm so
back in the day, you had
old.
to
Well,
go
I'm
to the
not
record store.
old, but I come from a time where in the middle of the night, like you could be on BT, and
Yes.
they selling mixtapes.
Mm-hmm.
With different songs on the mixtape. Like you didn't have to make your own. It was like we got this is the soul album or something, soul CD, and it used to be all these artists and stuff like
Yeah.
lined up that you really really like. How has the internet changed that? The internet has kind of the internet has taken away from. First, I'll say the internet has taken away from celebrity. The internet has ruined celebrity. Celebrity doesn't really exist anymore. Um, you really have people who are content creators just as famous as you know Nicki Minaj. You know, they may not have as many followers, but they're making quite a bit. Like they're billionaires. And I'm not talking about OnlyFans content creators. I'm talking about like people out here just making videos, prank videos, and
YouTube and
YouTube and
stuff
all
like
that
that. Yeah, I
stuff.
know what
So
you
it's
mean.
kind of taken away from celebrities. So I feel like it's affected it in a way that um, a lot of artists really have to work harder now in order to be famous. Like it's hard to be famous now because you're competing. Like you get people from YouTube being invited to the Grammys. You get people from YouTube being invited to the Emmys. And so it's like the competition is so much more harder. And I'm a huge Whitney Houston fan. Like that is the queen of queens. Like that one has been my everything. Like I mean I'm getting pictures put up of her in my house. That's how much I love her. But the difference between her and a Michael Jackson and a Prince and a Luther Vandross and a Diana Ross and a Patti LaBelle and an Anita Baker and even like back in the day in Erica Badu or I mean as early as like one time in Usher is you had to go to the store
And purchase the
and
album,
purchase
literally, or they would do
those albums
signings.
and you
Yeah.
to read the cover and see like what was in the cover and what they had put and like who they had thanked. And um, growing up, I remember Chris Brown and his family. They used to go to my church, and he used to sing on the youth choir. And so when he was representing the county and stuff, it was like, yo, this is dope. Now it's like the internet has taken away from celebrity to a point where now people have to work so much harder. And I get a lot of people who ask me, are your shows on DVD? Are your shows on video? And I always tell them, no, not yet. I tried it once and it didn't work out well. And I may try it again, but if you want to see it, come see it.
That, let me allude to that. The feeling of going to see theater or plays in person is unreal. And I say it's unreal because it's in real time. And you
Mm-hmm.
know the audience will react to it. They'll give their 2 cents, they'll catch on to everything.
Mm-hmm.
So do you like the live shows? And I'm pretty sure you've been to Broadway, you've seen it, that
Mm-hmm.
experience, that feeling where you want to be able to see it for yourself in person versus seeing it on television at home. Like in real time, you get to see the
Right.
mistakes, all of that. If the actors mess up, and I've sat with actors here on this platform and I asked them, which do you prefer? Do you prefer in real time or do you prefer being on? I mean, you're on set, yes, you're recording in real
Mm-hmm.
time, like how we're doing the platform now, but the audience will be able to catch on to your
Mm-hmm.
mistakes. So,
I'm sorry, I was just reading that comment that popped up. How many times have you seen Broadway's The Lion King on DVD or on Prime?
great example. Great
How many
example.
times have you seen the actual Wicked when it was big like 10 years ago on Prime or on DVD? Like you couldn't do it. And those people have become the real celebrities. Theater has become the true definition of celebrity on
Yes.
Broadway because you don't see these people. You don't see them. The only way you see them is if you see them in person and you want that autograph. You want them to sign your playbill. You want them to sign your poster. I have actors that are even local and people who love them so much. And in their shows, I have people who go to every show, multiple shows. But because they want to see that person, they want to see that person becomes a celebrity to them. I have a character whose name is Grandma Otta, and she's a handful. But all she has to do is walk out on stage and the audience goes crazy. They know her. They want a picture with her. And it's not because of internet fame. It's not because of Instagram fame or YouTube fame, or it's because she's live and in person. And that celebrity has gone away. You're not going to see people fall out you're not going to see people faint for Michael Jackson no more in that way. Why? They're so accessible now. And I think that some artists try to do that, but they aren't executing it very well in some ways. But I don't know, new people, new time. I guess I'm not mad at them.
Right. And Naptown a question asked a question. He says, I'm trying to write a book, but it's so hard to focus and come up with ideas. What advice would you give to Naptown as a playwright or as an author?
Well, I would first want to know what type of book it is. I've had somebody come to me with this before. It's actually a young lady in Louisiana, and she was writing a book. And I think with books are unique. I found that in writing books, because I'm planning on writing one, I write books backwards. I don't write from beginning to end. I write from end to beginning.
Mm,
When it comes to books, because I automatically want to know how it's going to end, and that's going to give me the idea of where I want it to be. What type of book do I want this to be? Is this going to be a family book? Is it going to be a drama book? Is it going to be a children's book? And what lesson am I trying to teach? What lesson am I trying to get across to my audience? That's the first thing that you want to come up with,
right,
is what message do you want to give? Everything has a message, be it good or bad, up or down, left or right. Everything has a message. Once you get there, then I would say, okay, this is the direction I'm going to go. And so where do I expand from the core out? Don't work from the out to the core. Work from the core out. And so, if you're having a hard time coming up with ideas, it's so hard. Nat Town MW, what type of book are you writing? Are you writing a self help book? It's so hard to like really see how you could get your ideas. If it's something as far as self help, then it sounds like it should be something personal, for sure.
Essence of a
Essence of a
woman.
woman.
Mm.
I would, if I were writing about the book, in Essence of a Woman, looking at your picture, you're definitely male. I would start interviewing. So I would start talking to some women. I would start talking to some women, getting some ideas from them, and then writing it down. And I learned this in one time, like creating a spin wheel and creating categories within it. And then as you talk to women, figure out which category that they talk about the most. Like, and that's how you're going to find out. That's where your ideas are going to come from. Because women or people in general, they're going to give you, they're all going to come up with the same thing. Eventually, there's going to be a common ground. And so that's how you're going to get your sales. That's how you're going to get your audience. That's how you're going to get your popularity. Once you find out what all these women have in common and what they all want to read about and what they all want to learn more about, or what do they feel like is the essence of a woman, then you could start there. That's where I would start. Is starting off with interviewing women and talking to different women, random women. Don't try to get no big names. Don't go reading Beyonce's biography. No, talk to real women in real life, dealing with real life situations. Okay, and that's where I would start off with that if it were me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And family, immediate family.
Yes.
Start off with your family as well
Mm-hmm.
too. You got siblings, sisters, nieces.
Yeah.
You have
Start
aunts.
teasing them.
Talk to them.
Mm-hmm. Because they're gonna give you some ideas, and I would let you talk to my mama, but you would never get finished with your book.
So that's just a few pointers and tips. And I'm glad that you brought up a spin wheel. We all have differences. When we were going to school, we had to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you make a compare and contrast, or you would,
Mm-hmm.
if it's one subject, one thing, you would have to write, okay, what makes this thing so unique? What is it about this thing? And
Right.
break down the benefits and the properties of it. So that's how we would have to do it. And I
Mm-hmm.
know there's a lot of writers out there. What advice would you give to writers? Because I know even for songwriters, sometimes they get writer's block. And it's like, what can I write
Ooh.
about? What am I feeling? What advice would you give to them?
Go with your feeling. I know that sounds so generic, and I hate when people don't give like specifics, like when you really want some advice, and people are saying things like, you know what, just go with it, don't, when people tell people how do I become famous, and people are like, just work hard, and like nobody wants to hear that. People want to hear what you have to do. You have to figure out what mellows you out when you write a song. Or if you're trying to create a club banger, you got to figure out what hypes you up. And you just got to write. Even if it doesn't make, I've written so many songs and I've taken from this song and taken from that piece and taken from this piece. Because when I write, I just write. So write, 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 write. Like just write. It no matter what you feel. It doesn't matter what. I remember I was feeling down one time and my lyrics were broken shoulders carrying the world. I'm looking around wondering where I belong. Confused melodies keep playing in my head. I have enough noise in my life to wake up the dead. And that's just what I was feeling.
Wow.
And I just found a beat to it. And then I was like, but I'm tired of this struggle and I'm tired of this pain. I have lost pieces of my puzzle. It feels like I'm going insane. And you just gotta just write what you feel. There's another local theater company, and I help write songs for their shows. and I get to be. I'm always